Hi designers! In this video I'm going to show you how to use the pen tool and some of the advanced uses of the shape tool to create a little bit more complex custom shape. This is going to come in really handy when you're working on your personal logo and other vector-based projects. To start off, we're going to use this image, this tiny icon of a panda, and we're going to call this Pixelated Panda. So what I'd like you to do is to download this file from the MediaArt share drive. Make sure you save it on your desktop and then open it with Photoshop. And you should see two layers, both the background and the Pixelated Panda layer. The first thing you're going to do is to resize the panda using the transform controls. So hit Command T. And as you can see, as we've discussed, because this panda icon is pixel based, or it's raster based, as we resize it, it just becomes more pixelated. Even if I finish the transformation by hitting return, we still have a very fuzzy image of the panda, and we can actually see some of the artifacting that happens when you save a very small JPEG file. So this is a common occurrence for designers. Even professional graphic designers will have clients bring their work in, and the client might have a sketch or might have an old image of the logo, but they don't have the vector file, which of course the designer needs to create a logo that is both editable, that means you can change the colors or you could make tweaks to the design, or that is scalable, so you could put it on anything from the size of a business card all the way up to a billboard without having to remake the logo over and over again. So what a designer will do is they will take this image and they'll use a combination of the pen tool and the shape tools to create a vector-based image on top of the pixelated image. So you already know how to use the shape tool. So for instance, anything that's a simple shape like the head can be drawn as an ellipse. I'm using the space bar to move around the ellipse and dragging it out to about the right size there. That's very easy. I can change the color of it. I can turn the opacity down so I can see through it. And if I wanted just to create the black outline, I could come up here to the options bar, select subtract from shape, and draw another ellipse inside so that I would be subtracting out the white part. Remember that when you're working with shape layers or with vector images, everything on the layer is going to be the same color. So we're not going to be able to do the pink or the red. We're just looking at the black and the white. And in this case, the black is going to be our positive shapes, the shapes that we're filling in, and the white is going to be the negative shapes, the shapes that we're subtracting out. So that's a very easy way to go about building a shape. We could use circles here for the ears. We could maybe, I don't know, it gets kind of difficult down here with the arms. So that's where, when you have something that's just a little bit more complex, that's where the pen tool comes in. The pen tool draws paths. So it's drawing the vector. The path is the tiny gray line that you see here that's the boundary of the shape. The pen tool works by creating corners and curves. To start off, to create a corner, you're going to find somewhere where it's straight, and this is actually all curved, but we'll make a corner right here. And to create a corner, you're just going to click and let go. Make sure that your pen tool is on combine shapes so that it continues to add the path to the layer that you're working on. So again, a corner is going to be click and let go. Then this is a curve, so we're going to find the middle of the curve, which is right about here, and click and drag out these control handles. And the control handles pull the curve. So whatever direction you pull it and however far you pull it is how bendy and the direction of the curve. Sometimes when you're using the pen tool, the next anchor point that you put down, maybe that curve doesn't go exactly where you wanted it to. That is just fine, because you can always come back and edit these anchor points. Again, that's the beauty of working with vector-based images, is they're always editable. You can come back and make tweaks. So this next portion right here, I think is a corner, so I'm going to click and let go. going to find the middle of this curve. Actually, I'll go ahead and go all the way around his foot here. So the middle of that little curve, pull out little handles. This is a corner, so click and let go. Find the middle of this next curve before it starts to change direction, so it's right about there. Find the middle of the next curve where it changes direction. Click and drag, and you can see this path is not quite where I want it to be. That's fine, I'll just keep going, I'll come back later. And this next one can be right about here. Try to use as few anchor points as possible, because if you do want to edit, you don't want to have to go back and change 1,000 different things. You want just a few points that keep your line smooth and that you could just easily go back and edit. When you're coming to the end, you want to make sure that you click back on the first anchor point. You'll see that little circle come up over your pen tool, and that tells you that you're about to close the path. That's really important because it closes the shape and tells Photoshop what to fill in. So if we take a look, we've got an arm and a leg and the circle for the panda's head so far. We're doing really good. We're going to continue using the pen tool to go around all of the different parts. Down here, I could either use the rectangle tool to draw a straight line, or I could make it slightly curved by drawing it with the pen tool, and continue with those shapes all the way around. When you're done drawing all of the paths, that's the point that you can come back and edit your paths. To edit the path, you're going to use this white arrow. It's called the direct selection tool, and that allows you to click on the path and move individual anchor points. You've already used the black arrow, the path selection tool. That selects the entire path and lets you move the entire path or copy and paste the entire path, whereas the direct selection tool just works with individual anchor points. So I could move this anchor point. You can adjust the curve handles. So if the curve is off, you can pull it more to make it a stronger curve, or less to make it a flatter curve. And I'm kind of liking how that's looking. So again, this does take some practice. I've had a lot of practice, so that's why I'm able to get it pretty close on the first try without a lot of editing. But again, the most important thing is just to go around, make your shape, close your path, and then you can come back and make adjustments later. Make sure you're looking over here on your layers panel. If you end up having a couple of extra layers, so say I was doing the ear and I drew the ear and I got it all just right, exactly where I want it to be, and it created a different layer. If you have a lot of those, you can use the path selection tool to click on the layer, select the path, so you'll see that the anchor points come up. Copy the path, so Command C or Edit, Copy. Click on the layer that you want all of your shapes on and paste the path, Command V on the keyboard or Edit, Paste, and you should see that shape pop up in the layer thumbnail. You can also turn the visibility of this shape off, and as you can see, now the ear is in that area. Don't forget that you can also use the path selection tool to select the paths and merge the shape components. It used to be called combine, but I think that got confused up here, so they call it merge shape components. And what that does is it simplifies your shape. So where there's extra areas of the path, you'll see those disappear. It kind of cleans it up. Okay. Now, if you're drawing the ears like this and you would like to subtract that area, you can use another circle to do that. So use the ellipse, set it on subtract from front shape, and we probably actually need to draw the entire head or get very close to it and come in and subtract that. And then to clean it up, again, select those paths and choose merge shape components so that we don't have that extra. Alright, I hope you have fun with the Pixelated Panda, practicing combining shapes and using the pen tool to create a really smooth vector-based image.